time that we are meeting on this program, the Cardinal Talk Show. Here, this program, we do a lot of ventilation, a lot of spotlighting, and a lot of punditry that is supposed to give us insight into political happenings. The discourse normally it's meandering. However, the principles and the merits remain the same politically. Where interests are supposed to be swaying opinions, that is politics. And they say in politics, everything goes as long as your interest is catered for. To you, the voter, what's your share on this table of politics? Your share remains actually doing proper scrutiny, looking at the candidates and placing your vote where you think and believe that it's going to work for you rightfully in terms of your development upwards and horizontally, as a person and as a community and collectively as a country. That's why we're seated here on the Cardinal Talk Show to ventilate on matters like this. I'm with my regular analyst here is Kenyanito Dudi, who is a governance expert and has been lending us a lot of info in terms of making this program be what it is today. Apparently, I'll be having him today alone. Marco Iti seems to have been caught up somewhere, just very late into this program, and we want to wish him all the best wherever he is. But then, it is time again, and we met here last when it's only Rigathi Gachagua who had been unveiled as a presidential running mate, and Martha Karua followed subsequently the following day. And with that, it brought to a complete closure of matters of running mates, at least for the leading coalitions in these elections. And since then, they hit the road running. And to say it as it has been, the running mate aspect has been the rallying point of the latest campaigns for the presidential candidates. Each and every end that you go, there's a comparative analysis that is made between the two leading presidential running mates, Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua. I want to bring you into this. Just what shifts has this created in terms of positioning for voters and in terms of the campaigns going forward?
Yeah, thanks so much, Nick, and viewers. Good evening. I must start by apologizing that last Sunday I was out of town for a higher calling.
Higher calling?
To go and minister.
Oh, you are out of Nairobi?
Yes, I was out of Nairobi. I was at Kabianga Boys School for a weekend challenge.
Kabianga should be in the
Kericho County. I had a good time with 2,400 and something, sharing them, mentoring them holistically. So I missed the show. But here I am. Thank you for giving me another chance to share, ventilate with the viewers.
Welcome.
Yeah, so we were here about 2 weeks ago with Marco Iti. That was the Sunday that Kenya Kwanza Alliance unveiled their running mate after 17 hours of waiting. And then the following, I think some of the predictions we made, the analysis we made, and I think I never telling you that Azimio, La Umoja, One Kenya Coalition, would settle for an act nothing but Martha Karua, based on different indicators that I shared with you. And you could see right from the onset when Kenya Kwanza unveiled Rigathi Gachagua. As I told you, Rigathi Gachagua is a one-time, a newcomer or a greenhorn politician, you could say, because this is his 5th year since election into become a member of Parliament for Madira constituency. And so he's not so much known in the corridors, even though he had worked as a public servant, DO, DC, climbing the ranks during the Moi era. And so when Azimio La Umoja, through the Right Honorable Prime Minister Odinga, unveiled Martha Wangari Karua on Monday, you could see the shockwaves. Because I said it would bring some kind of taste and gist, which we are still feeling. To start with the unveiling of Martha as running mate brought some kind of diplomatic and international recognition. You remember even the tweets from as far as US, Kamala Harris, as well as the neighboring country, Suluhu, Ethiopia, and across the globe, because she's known. She's known not only locally, not only in the Mount Kenya region, but regionally, nationally, and even continentally, plus globally. Compared to Rigathi Gachagua, where people are even struggling, who is this Rigathi Gachagua? And that, again, has brought some spike in the sense that even the math for the UDA, or Kenya Kwanza, to be precise, because Kenya Kwanza is more of an UDA. It's an UDA ticket because the running mate and the presidential candidate are both from the same party. While the Azimio La Umoja coalition has got affiliates, is the only coalition party which is fielding a candidate. And so some effect of this from the time of nomination, you've seen she hit the ground running, and the excitement that it brought, not only Mount Kenya west of east, but nationally and gradually. And for the last 2 weeks, she's covered nearly the 11 counties in the Mount Kenya region. And then you've seen the reception across, because Martha, apart from gender and her track record vis-a-vis her credentials, she's been a minister, she's been the longest serving a member of parliament compared to some of the current members of parliament in or from Mount Kenya. And so she's got high pedestal, she's got high recognition, even amongst the Kenya Kwanza lands. So you've seen tectonic forces are beginning to shape up, and even Mount Kenya is slowly buying into her succession plan towards what? Succeeding President Uhuru Kenyatta beyond. So it is interesting that she's combed nearly all the 11 counties in Mount Kenya, bringing forth what we call what? The nomination parties, homecoming, yes, nomination homecoming party having been nominated as the running mate. And you've seen even the placards, the posters, and the billboards, decorations. You would see at some point the people from Mount Kenya were a bit lukewarm, putting even the portrait of the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya and candidates' pictures and portraits. And you've seen all those things have changed. So now we will yet analyze as things unfold, but as at now, it's been a big game changer. It has really brought a big change in the dimensions and analysis, and we want to believe that by the time we go to the polls, there will be some very, very interesting numbers turning towards either of the coalition. But Rigathi Gachagua, he's also hit the campaign running. He went to his home county, and this week he's been to Rift Valley, Deputy William Ruto's stronghold, and we want to see where he'll be going from that point.
Well said. Now, I want us to look at the comparative analysis of the impact that these two candidates brought into the fray. And more so speaking about Mount Kenya region, who between the two must have excited the mountain most in terms of their declaration as running mates, and perhaps who also, in your assessment, who also carries with them the hopes of tomorrow, and the person they sit with comfortably right now? Leave alone the principles now, the running mates.
Mount Kenya, or House of Mumbi, we learned something in our formative stages, Gikuyu and Mumbi, was it geography, GHC, history stuff. And you could see that right from the Gikuyu and Mumbi story, traditionally, ancestrally, this is a community that has had a chance of having women taking some leading roles in the running of homesteads and sometimes shaping even the dimensions of leadership. And this is not new. Or if you were to draw a line between Martha Wangari Karua and Rigathi Gachagua, there are a lot of parallels to be drawn, in my view. Because number one has got a track record of reforms. I remember 2007, 2008, 2007 during the swearing in of Kibaki, and then again 2008 after post-election violence during the Kofi Annan, the Serena meetings, and this was the only man from the Kikuyu community who really championed the interests of Kibaki presidency until things were done according to. Actually, it's been mooted that she was to be the deputy, one of the deputy prime ministers. But Kibaki made good that President Uhuru Kenyatta, because he never defended his role as the official leader opposition. So that was now given to Uhuru Kenyatta. And that means she's been with the people. And she's seen it all. She was there during the regime of Nyayo. She was there during the regime of Kibaki, and she's forthright. She speaks her mind. She's having a track record of reforms. She championed so many things in this country alongside Raila Odinga during the trenches. Whilst if you were to again look at Rigathi Gachagua, did you know about Rigathi Gachagua? Nick, before you joined Parliament.
Before the UDA wave.
Yes. I mean, he just came the other day, but that doesn't mean that if you're not there yesterday, you cannot cut an itch today and be somebody.
Yeah, you can still come today.
Yes.
And run this show.
Yes.
And be as effective as more than even the person who's been there
Precisely.
for some time.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
But they say sometimes that old wine, is good when it's old, like a bamboo tree. So the question you asked was zeroing in the interest of Mount Kenya, and the hashtag or the cliche around Kenya Kwanza is always been about kazi ni kazi, and or the hustler narrative, and Rigathi Gachagua, yeah, he's also gone through, but nowhere, because right from his days at the University of Nairobi in 1992, he caught his stuff, and
well, at the university in 1992.
I mean, not 1986, 7 about. So 1982, Ford when he was actually finishing. He had just finished around that 1990, during that time of clamor for
the 90s, the
multi-party stuff.
So
at some point they were with Ruto in some of those YK things. So he's also learned the way through what's called hustler. I don't like using that term. He speaks a language that they get to understand as a fact. Is a thorough grassroots mobilizer. He also can be very bully. Actually, it's shared widely that within the 17 hours that at some point at the Karen, he was able to slap one of the MPs, the Kimani Ichung'wah, and that brought a lot of stuff heat. There was a lot of tug of war here and there while they were still settling on who to be unveiled. But Rigathi is also having a room to market the hustler narrative within the Mount Kenya, because he's been the face of William Ruto, so to speak, for the last 5 years or so in the Mount Kenya region. Now, there are those who buy into his gospel, especially the under 40. The under 40, the youths of Central or Mount Kenya, to be precise, are really bought in the hustler narrative. Now, the over 40, according to the recent polls that were done, that over 35% were supporting Azimio. Those are people who are over 40 and for over 40 years. But the under 40 are still stuck to the hustler narrative. Now, when this goes down to the oligarchs, because they're those who control the economy of this country, not only this country, but this is everywhere. The oligarchs, the Mount Kenya Foundation and the like, where are they? And they're bound to influence in one way or another, directly or indirectly. And I am very sure that they are with Martha Wangari Maathai. Karua. And at some point, we will see this in the next campaigns are beginning today, Sunday, 29th, officially. So the next couple of 3-4 weeks is when we'll see the permutations and the change of numbers in terms of followership. But so far, I mean, she's changed the narrative, so to speak. Yeah, and the conversation around Mount Kenya now, they are speaking about Martha and they are now talking about Azimio, which was not there because the Mount Kenya region was really under seal or lock and key for Kenya Kwanza.
For Kenya Kwanza.
Yeah.
So you feel Martha's entry as somehow unlocked slightly what was...
Yes, precisely. It has really unlocked some numbers, and it's still unlocking. Yeah, because Kenya Kwanza's solid ground and base is in Mount Kenya and Rift Valley, Kalenjin Nation to be precise. You slice a fraction of Mount Kenya, then Kenya Kwanza is
wobbles a little bit.
The stability just disappears.
Well, it's also interesting to gauge these running mates. You said Martha received a lot of accolades internationally.
Correct.
For naming as a running mate.
Yeah.
Regarding the Chagwa side was so mute. What does it tell about the international community? What does it tell about our diplomatic position with the world? Because a deputy president is a heartbeat away from the presidency. And the international community looks at it like, oh, who is there? Should anything, God forbid, happens to any of the bosses. Now, who takes over? This person who takes over in terms of their diplomatic ties and relationships, who is well suited between the two?
Yeah, that is a very critical thing that we need to look at. But sometimes most electorates in the global south, Kenya included, normally vote under euphoria. They do not look at the person who is contesting, the integrity and the like. And the accolades only come because you are only able to attract the magnetic effect. You're not able to attract people based on the strength. So she attracted because she's been there, she's got a track record. And like Rigathi, which was a bit low key because it was not known until it was unveiled by many people locally. But embassies or international committees have got their diplomatic offices within this country. So they also have the profile of each and every person. That's why when they unleashed that for Martha, you could see the celebrations, you could see the international accolades and the like, because this is someone that they have known over the years and has got some consistency. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua brings a baggage. Well, that pair of ticket is a bit of a hard sell internationally, because there have got cases of graft, some allegation, there have got cases which are hanging around them which do not meet the threshold of integrity. And that is bound to elicit a lot of lukewarmness, or international community will not recognize you because they have got some bare minimum, the standards at which they look at whom are we going to congratulate, or else they can withdraw their congratulatory remarks. And so on that, Martha Karua and Kenya Azimio have got a bit of an edge over Rigathi and Kenya Kwanza because of the baggage and because again international connection. Because Rigathi has never served anywhere apart from being a DO. Martha has been a minister for water, for justice, and this made her to at least connect internationally. Unlike Rigathi, who has only served as a one-time MP. And
again, looking at that, just on Friday, I saw Martha Karua reconnect with the civil society in a function at the Serena Hotel,
right,
where she gave a speech that I went through and picked very fundamental key areas. One of them was a pet project of electoral justice and electoral reforms. This is a clarion call that has been there for ages. Martha is familiar with this tirade. She's been in it. She's been pushing about the electoral justice through electoral system and also law enhancement and implementation. So she was at it again, and I had a feeling that she feels this business that is not complete. And our reform credentials informs that with this kind of passionate talk about electoral justice, then Martha seems to have her work cut out. She's going in there. If at all they win in August, she will be pushing for that very effective change in electoral justice, because she's also going there. If at all they win, she's also going there as the minister who's in charge of justice and constitutional affairs. What connection does this one have? The civil society, the call for change, and electoral justice. This is Martha Karua for you.
Well, that's a potential vote constituency that Martha is likely to bring on the table or on board to Azimio La Umoja. Because number one, they've worked with the civil society. She's worked with the civil society, CSOs. The same with Raila, has worked with civil society over the years. And you can remember even the BBI, she was one of the lead advocates for the BBI because of the process at which it was undertaken.
Yeah, she was the lawyer for Kenya Human Rights Commission.
Yes. At the same time, she's been there. I looked at that conversation which she had on Friday with the civil society organizations, and stating categorically that there should be publication of what led to the nullification of the presidential election, which is critical. And sometimes it's good to know that you have friends who will also believe in your ideology. She's got something she believes for, and she's always stood for it. And that's why it's going to be exciting to see her bringing her activism into the management of the government. But the challenge is sometimes she may need at least to look at that. I think she also confessed that it's not bad to be an activist. That activism means just being engaged. So if you're engaged in the running of the government, I think there's a plus. Yeah.
Yes, activism, as they say, it's actually a moment that we are trying to sift through to see what credentials in terms of their profiles as personalities, the two running mates, and we are looking at every end of it. Some have very rich CVs, some have CVs that are moderate, but some look also to be very effective. Some are firm, some are forthright, some have baggages. It's a mixed sort of analysis that we are having here. However, it's important to get these facts right because it informs you as a voter just to know what to do exactly on the 9th of August. Because then, if you're not informed, we might make choices. And choices have consequences.
Correct.
Somebody said that. Therefore, it's upon you to follow this program to the end. We are going for a short break. We are coming back just to look at, again, now that Martha Karua was named as the presidential running mate, Kalonzo Musyoka took off and named Andrew Sonkoli as his running mate. Before even the hen would swallow the maize, right now Kalonzo has been blocked technically from running for president. What does it portend for the guy from Saikuru?
That's really something else.
Viewer, if you're joining right now, we are doing the Cardinal Talk Show, a program that comes to you on Lolwe Television Network every Sunday at a time like this, where we do nothing other than inform you adequately, appropriately about the discourse of our politics, both locally and internationally. And today, again, we are blessed to have here Kenyanito Dudi, who is a governance expert, and he's helping us here go through these bits one by one. Welcome if you're joining right now, and if you're with you from the first end of it, let's continue at this very level. Yes, we were talking about bringing activism. Raila Odinga has been an activist,
right,
in his own self. Martha Karua has been an activist.
Right.
They share particular traits and history that seem to resonate well with each other in terms of bringing change, advocating for the second liberation, looking and finding the second constitution, the 2010 constitution, and actually always being on the human rights side of things, because you must always stand out to be recognized by the civil societies only if you're one of them. And they find Martha very friendly, so accommodative, they respect her. Even from that meeting, you see a lot of respect that goes for Martha. It's because of a long struggle and history for human rights. This also brings another added value to Martha Karua running that position.
Yeah, Nick, for one, you must have something to stand for. If you don't have something to stand for, then you
have nothing to even lie down for.
Okay. And she's always stood right from the multipartyism era when we were bringing back the reintroduction of multi-party democracy.
Repeal of the Section 2A.
Yes. During that wind of change in the 1980, from 1988 Mlongo system, which bungled the electoral process in Kenya, and thereafter 1990.
What happened? People keep referring to 1988. We could not know what was happening by then. We were pretty young. But what is it that happened? Because people refer to it. I've never even found somewhere that there is some cogent article or a cogent essay to put together for us to read in terms of capturing history. I just hear people talk about 1980, it was bungled, the Mlolongo thing was a disgrace, I don't know what, a lot of things. Just what happened?
You need to attend political science 101 class. But that's another day.
I'm a political scientist, I'm a journalist.
1988, then Nyayo still had one party. Actually, 1983, Kenya became a de jure one-party state. So it was only party, one-party KANU. And that KANU means you were either in KANU or out of KANU. Once your name was taken out of the register, then you had no way you could really seek elective politics.
It was done.
Yeah, it was done. So Nyayo had his cronies who would be given tickets, and there was this interesting thing. There was no secret balloting. 1988 was a bungled election, where people would go with their symbols, and Nick would stand with his symbol. If it was maize or tar or whatever, or a thermos, so people were getting their own symbols, but under KANU. And if it was a phone or whatever, then you carry that your little stuff, and the people would queue behind you. Then the returning officer would come, plus youth wingers, and they would count the voters, those who are voting, but they would just count 1, 2, and then there was stage-managed youth wings. Once you're already earmarked to be given the victory. So they will start with you and count or finish with you. And then once you have counted, your voters have been counted, then the rest, the longest queue, they will whip people, run away, and that's out. So election will be counted on that person who was preferred, whether you had few people behind you or as the time.
So just a minute.
Yeah.
If, for instance, you're doing elections in the Embakasi North constituency,
Right. Yes.
where we have nearly 200 polling stations for one constituency.
You are converging in one polling station.
So how would somebody in point X travel all that distance to go and converge?
That's the thing. So you convert a particular station, a polling station, basically a school, a private school, and then guys will come and queue with their supporters and the staff.
So then, so you'd have less than 200 people making noise there.
Yeah. And then that was it. So it led to the Cardinal call for the reintroduction of multi-party democracy. And that time, finally, there's a wind of change blowing from the west to the global south, African countries. And then agitation. That's where people like Martha, that's where the coining of multi-party was again done somewhere in the office of the late Jaramogi. And others like Rahila, the Seven, Great Murungi, and the staff, Anyona, those guys who brought forth. So those brought, So that's the time that put a lot of stuff. And then again, it formed after the 1992 coup, and Rahila was now taken for detention. And then that's the time he was just coming out of detention, around 1990, about after having served for 9 years of detention. So you see again, Martha played a key role, and Raila, and the second liberation cohort, those were in the trenches, the likes of James Orengo and the like. So they know each other. The question was that activism. So they know each other because they have worked together before towards a particular ideology, which was to bring forth reforms and restoration of what? Of democracy. You remember the Ford and Protestant democracy at that time. So that Ford was the placenta that gelled them together. And then they maintained working, because by that time the church and the civil societies at some point they were shunned. And so people would hide through the civil societies because the West would use them now to at least fund and support the advancement of the democracy, the reintroduction of multi-party democracy. So Martha has been on the trenches with Raila and others. So you see this 2022 is more of a pair of those who have got a past.
Yeah, it's a convergence of particular ideologies.
Yes, there's actually a galaxy of reformers and a galaxy of stars of those who have got the packages.
The status
quo.
quo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well said. At least it's now clear we know what happened in 1982. It's clear that people will be whipped somewhere in, and then you're told to go home.
Yeah.
We've declared
Declarations
is the member of parliament. That must have been so archaic. It's so retrogressive. I don't think that is democracy at all, and hopefully we will never go back there.
No.
There's no way. There's no way out.
No,
we can't go back there.
No.
Now, Kalonzo Musyoka took off.
Mm.
I think he was tipped that he wasn't going to be the running mate this time around, so it was going to be Martha, and Kalonzo Musyoka didn't sit well with this. He didn't find him comfortable at all. He had to chicken out, go and do a hurried press conference, declare Sonkuli as the running mate, and also went on to affirm that IBC has his credentials and names, and therefore is going for it. Apparently, even after saying that, Kalonzo has not even made the first move. Up until sometime last week, his brigade said that they were in a meeting somewhere and they did what was supposed to be a voting whether Kalonzo should come back to One Kenya, rather to Azimio la Umoja, or go it alone. Seemingly, they voted in favor of Kalonzo coming back to Azimio to take up his role as the chief minister. Now, how does this define Kalonzo? And now where does it leave him? Because IBC has also stopped him in his own tracks.
He was technically knocked out. One, SKM, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, is very interesting. Historically or politically, is one of those guys who was brought from somewhere by Nyayo and given some ticket, and he was the organizing secretary. And so, without dissecting or defacing him, I don't want to go that direction, but historically, he's amongst those people who were spoiled by Nyayo.
So he's a spoiled kid.
Yes, I mean, I will be a bit conservative, but he's amongst those spoiled parts. Okay. Because that time was brought from an election of 1982. 85. There was a by-election. Yeah, and then he came, I think, 84, 85, about. And the Nyayo and picked him.
So he's been in politics actively for 40 years?
Yeah, absolutely. And with power trappings, then because he was made organizing secretary for KANU in 88, he led singing KANU, Yajenga Inchi, and the choirs and stuff in the plant, and so many things. But
so
now,
when people like Mata were in the trenches, he was fighting in the authoritarian rule of Moi, he was now supporting the citizens.
He was the organizing secretary of KANU.
So this convergence of Mata and Raila seemed to have left Kalonzo Musyoka out of this plan.
Absolutely. And I told you that the pairing this time around was going to be different, unlike the last two elections, based on different parameters. But now, to crystallize the question, that as we are heading to the election, where is Kalonzo Musyoka? Because he has been blowing hot and cold, and he is had this character of having not grace, but having an excellent gift of miscalculation.
How would that be a gift? How did miscalculation become a gift?
He's having an excellent gift
or it's just perfected
of miscalculation. Because, I mean, even for quite some time, to be honest with you, Mamata, the SDP, remember 1997? Mamata was actually the supremo leader of Ukambani Nation. And she galvanized some good votes, actually. Then she became number 4 after Odinga. Number 3, and Kibaki was number 3, and Moi was number 1, and she galvanized about 470 something votes, nationally with SDP, Masai and Kilu, and she came again and gave the baton to Kalonzo after the recharge by Raila through the LDP, when they walked out of Kano and stuff. But now I am saying that even that time he was joining the LDP that from the NAC, he was one of the late entrants. So he's got a gift of miscalculation sometimes and feels like an obsession of entitlement. He wants that if it's not me, then it's not me. Come by me by. Then it's either playing to spoil.
It's me or no.
It's me or not. Yeah. It's either me or me. Now this has really worked against him because he's being held hostage by the junior politicians, people like Tola Kilonzo Jr., Madame Manzo, and Enoch. And he does not know they should be playing the league of super leagues, but he's still here. Now, he technically knocked himself out, but I think sometimes he's overrated. And I think he's not really the man to watch in Lower Eastern. Because if he was really, we would have not lost all the 3 gubernatorial races. Because Machakos gubernatorial went to Alfred Mutua, Makwini went with Professor Kibwana, was again on the Gano, and then Giluj Nasa took forward Kitui. So he is again not that. Sometimes I lack adjectives to describe Kalonzo. But for this, he was really spoiling the game because he knew it had to be him or him. As a result, he made an hurried decision of unveiling Anderson Colley because he felt he had the entitlement to be given the running it. And you hear him speaking both sides of the mouth. At the unveiling of Azimio, he said that now, for the 3rd time, I'll be supporting my brother Raila Odinga unconditionally. Thereafter, he starts bringing conditions through his troops. So, that I'm saying he's got the excellent gift of miscalculations. Now, where are we with him? They were speaking of bolting out if not given to him, the running mate, but they never sought the legal process of the exclusion of Wiper from Azimio. Remember, you will insist that the name was to change from Azimio La Umoja to Azimio La Umoja One Kenya. Yeah, which is one of the same thing. Because if you're Nick and Okello, if I call you Nick, you should just be okay and Okello. But this, because of to satisfy his ego and stuff. And I think part of it is the game of lobbying. I wanted to raise the pride so that when they're going for negotiation, you'll be given a good share. But the demand sometimes be too much because Grapevine has it that he wanted 30%, 50% of the government, which again, but this is a big homestead Azimio. Now he was technically knocked out because they did not submit the list of supporters, the 40,000 is minimum, in accordance to the template that was issued by IEBC. Now where is he in this? He's got nowhere. He's got nowhere to go to except to come back and play hard within Azimio La Umoja coalition. Why? Time is bad. 2, he never sought the High Court to remove a Wiper from the agreement that they signed, which again is very clear. 6 months up into the general election and 3 months after. That's the only time when you can pull out. So technically he's there. And he will come back with a bang. I know. He went for some holiday somewhere. After that, he went to look after the cattle in Sekuru and grew some cabbages and stuff. Then he went to Switzerland. We hope that he will come back.
Which is the best option? Which best option does he? Does he now want to just stop politicking? He goes out of politics, rests, and waits for 2027, or he should come and pick the position that he was awarded?
It's difficult to be in the court for 15 years. Remember I told you that this is one of the spoiled boys of now. And he's been in opposition for the last 10 years until he was given this diplomatic staff. So he has got nowhere. The offer given to him through the combination was the best for him because joining Kenya Kwanza, the slots are already taken. Waiting until 2022 he won't because they want to be part and enjoy the warmth. That's the thing. And again, Aristotle said that man is a political animal. And Kalonzo might be playing that beat to demonstrate his animalistic tendency. So that I want to hit and then come and claim my share. The other part of it is that he will be under pressure by his lieutenants who have already started piling pressure for him, adding stocks that you can't leave Azimio La Umoja. And that's where he will be back to Azimio La Umoja.
SKM Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is an accomplished diplomat, a Kenyan civil servant par excellence, somebody who has graced a political horizon here in so many different ways, and we know he's a son of this wonderful land called Kenya, and his name makes a complete puzzle of politics in Kenya. Should Kalonzo feel that he wants to come back to One Kenya Alliance, he says that the doors are open.
Yeah, his thought is
No,
there.
not One Kenya rather, but Azimio La Umoja Alliance.
Yes.
Yeah, the doors are open.
Yeah, his position is
there. Or he can't afford to be again out for another 5 years.
The cold, no.
Being in the cold is sometimes so cheap.
It's tough. It's tough.
And again, that brings us to the end of this discussion today. We've checked into, we've looked into, we've talked about, and we've analyzed just what is there for us politically speaking. Today, most of our discussion was on the number 2 slot and what they bring on the table. Remember, a running mate is as good as the president. This person is only a heartbeat away from the presidency and can become president at any given chance. Therefore, Kenyans, you are called upon to exercise serious civic scrutiny and civic action of voting in and looking into the persons who want to vote in so critically, so that we don't have a situation where we end up again feeling the consequences of a bad decision. Thank you, sir. Kenyito. You've been wonderful. You've been with us today. Thanks for the insights. Thanks for the information that you provided for us. And I hope again next week when you're called upon, if you will be, show up.
Always my pleasure. Bad leaders are chosen by good citizens who refuse to participate in the electoral process.
So go vote.
Yes, go vote and vote wisely.
Go vote and vote wisely. This ship will dock there today for Cardinal Talk Show, and I believe you've been with us and gotten so much information about this. Over to you as the voter, you viewer, decide what you want to do. Remember, we'll always be giving you this day by day. My name is Nico Kello. It's been fun having you along. Thank you so much. And God bless you. Till we meet again next week. Cheers.
Thank you. Good night, Anthony. Cheers. My coffee. Bless you.
Thank you.